Okay, so this is Geometry Chapter 6 test review. The first question, it says find the sum of the interior angles for a 25-sided figure. And the second question says find the measure of an interior angle of a regular 28-sided polygon to the nearest tenth. Okay, so we'll go through these as we're talking here. And these are like the first questions on the test, so we need to go over them. So let's take the first one. It says find the sum of the interior angles for a 25-sided figure. How would I do this particular problem?
Like 25 minus 2.
Okay, tell me why we're going to take 25 minus 2. All right, because that gives us the amount of triangles. And then what do we do with that 23? All right, so then we take 180 times 23. Okay, and that gives us the sum, right? Okay. And so we need somebody's 4,140, and we got to have a degree sign, right? So you might want to pop those calculators out because we'll be using them. Okay. Questions about that one? When I change the 25 to whatever, you're still going to subtract 2, right? To find the number of triangles. Okay. Aubrey? Okay. So now, number 2, it says find the measure of an interior angle. Not the sum of interior angles, but an interior angle of a regular 20-sided polygon to the nearest tenth. Now this is a regular, right? So some things you want to read there, that's a regular, right? Okay? And that it has 28 sides. Now, there's 2 ways that you can do this. I'm a firm, well, no, let's go this route. Let's stick with the one way. How would I do this? 28 minus 2 gives us 26. Why would she take 28 minus 2? All right, so we have 26 triangles. All right. So now what do I do with the 26? No, that's not.
That's exterior.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to take that times 180. Now I need your calculator here. Tell me what that is. 4,680 degrees. Is that correct? All right, now, Kagan, what do I do with that 4,680? That's the total, that's the sum of interior angles. Do you understand that? Divide it by, not 100. That's the total angles. How many angles are in that bad boy? Kagan? 28, and they're all equal, right? So what do I divide by? 28. And can you tell me to the nearest tenth what that angle measure is? 167.1 degrees. Now you're using a calculator, so make sure you round that correctly. Okay. Any questions on that? All right. So now let's take a look at 3 and 4. Let's read 3 first, and we'll do 4 in a little bit, but let's do 3. The sum of the interior angles of a polygon is 1,260 degrees. How many sides does it have? Now, this is the one, there's a couple ways we could do it. Okay, I apologize, I got them backwards, but I'm going to prefer one way because it's quicker, and when you have a long test, you kind of got to look at that, all right? But the sum of the interior angles of a polygon is 1,260 degrees. How many sides does it have? Well, I actually use, how would you do that? You be quiet, Angel. And who was the other one that was here yesterday? Tyler, okay. How would we do this?
Do you divide by 360?
Well, why would you do that? Why would you divide by 360?
The interior angles, the sum of the interior.
So exterior
The sum of the exterior angles is 360, right? So that doesn't help us, does it? Okay. All right. But the sum of the angles is determined by the number of triangles times 180, right? So if I took 1260 divided by 180 for a triangle, that would tell me how many triangles I have, right? So what is that, right? Do you agree? Okay, so how many triangles do I have? 7 triangles. I have 7 triangles, right? All right, so how many sides do I have? If I have 7 triangles, how many sides do I have? How did you get that? All right, we go backwards, don't we? We take 7 plus 2, we get 9 sides. So, and you can check it now, can't you? Can't you take 9 minus 7 and then times that by 180? Right, or 9 minus 2 and get 7 and then take that times 180? All right, did everybody see how I did that? Kellen, did you see how I did that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at the next one then. A convex pentagon has interior angles with measures of 7x degrees, 4x plus 10 degrees, 6x plus 10 degrees, 5x minus 5 degrees, and 4x plus 5 degrees. Find x and each angle. How do I do this? Anybody but Angel? Oh, why don't I ask Dylan specifically? Put you on the spot, Dylan. How do I do this?
They all equal 360.
They equal 360?
Oh, no, never mind.
Okay. So you want to add them up. Okay, so if you add them up, what do they equal? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start adding them up because you seem pretty confident about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just need to know what it equals.
I think it's 26x plus. I did it quick.
Well, 11 and 5 is 16 plus 4 is 20x. Is that right? And then 10 plus 10 is 20 minus 5. Oh, did I? Oh, I missed that one right there. So it's 26x. Okay, thank you. And then I got 10. 10 is 20 minus 5 is 15 plus 5 is 20. Is that right? But what does that equal? Jen,
540.
why would you tell me where did you get that number? You just make that up? What? What's that?
There's 5 sides.
There's 5 sides. So how many triangles?
3.
3 triangles, and 3 times 180 is 540. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, now we subtract 20 from both sides, and I get 26x equals 520. And I divide by 26, and what does that give me?
41.
Okay, x equals 20 degrees, right? So I got to put that 20 back into here, back into here, back into here, back into here, and back into here, right? Now, I'm going to let you do that on your own time, okay? So we have, make sure, since we have shortened periods, we want to make sure that we get through everything. Is that okay? Yes, no, maybe? All right, okay. Okay, so we got that taken care of, okay? All right, any questions? Now, you remember that I gave you a review, all right? And I'm going to ask you here in a minute, well, it'll be a few minutes, but I want to look at some other things, and then we'll talk about if you have any questions, all right? You don't have to know word for word polygons or parallelograms, you know, but you got to know like opposite angles are congruent, opposite sides are parallel, things like that, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some, I'm going to draw a figure, and you're going to tell me if it's a parallelogram or not, and then you explain how you know it's a parallelogram. So you gotta give me an explanation. So you kinda gotta know the theorems, right? So let's take this problem. Here's a figure, okay? And I'm gonna tell you that this and is that, and we're gonna go this and this. Is this a parallelogram? No, why not?
If one pair of sides is congruent and parallel, then it's parallelogram.
Okay, if one pair of sides is both, right?
Yeah.
Both parallel and congruent, right? What's another way to say it? Could somebody say because it has to be the same side? See, I don't have to just accept a theorem. You could say because it has to be the same side that it has to be both parallel and congruent. Okay? What about this one?
Yeah,
Yes. This is yes. Can you tell me why?
opposite sides are parallel.
Okay, you gotta say, okay, opposite, I'll say it like you did, but I gotta add something. Opposite sides are what? Congruent of a what?
Quadrilateral.
Quadrilateral. And if you put quad, I will accept it. Remind me I said that, okay? Alright. You see how we do that? So you gotta know kinda how to prove a parallelogram or a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, okay? Alright, now let's do some always, sometimes, never questions, because I know how much you love them. Alright, so always, sometimes, never, alright? A quadrilateral with diagonals perpendicular are kites.
What's perpendicular mean again?
They form a right angle. The quadrilateral with diagonals perpendicular are blank kites. Always, sometimes, or never. Sometimes. Tell me why. Is there anything else that has a what? Yes, Angel, that is correct. Okay. A quadrilateral with diagonals that bisect each other are always, sometimes, never rectangles. Anybody got any thoughts?
Always what I was thinking.
Sometimes.
Does this bisect each other? Yeah. And that's a parallelogram, right? So this would be sometimes. Now, if I say a parallelogram, then it's always. See how that changes? All I gotta do is change one word and it changes the whole philosophy, doesn't it? Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna draw a trapezoid. This is a trapezoid. I'm gonna tell you it's a trapezoid. Okay? Instead of marking it as a trapezoid, I'm gonna tell you it's a trapezoid. Okay? This is 17. This is called what? If this is congruent to this and this is congruent. This is called a what? A mig segment. Okay, and this is 32. I want to know what this is, please. 47, she says. Do I get an amen on that or not? Okay. It's 47. Tell me, how'd you do that, Aubrey?
I took 32 times 2, and then subtracted 17.
All right, that's probably the quickest way to do that. Okay. So if you would pop out your review sheet, I think it looks like this, is that right? Okay, if you would pop out your review sheet, tell me about this. Are there any questions that you have concerning this front page? No? Please tell me it's completed. Yes, ma'am.
What's the quicker way to do number 9, or is there not a different way to do it?
You mean without graphing it?
Yeah. Is there,
Parallelogram ABCD has vertices A, B, and it gives them a find the coordinates of D. Well, I mean, I'm gonna hand out graph paper, and I would suggest that graph paper is probably the quickest way, but there is another way. Do you want to see that? Because you asked for the quicker way.
Which one's the quicker way, the graphic?
The graphing is the quicker way. Okay. What you would do is you'd find the distance from. Now let's see here. I think graphing. I'm just going to suggest graphing. The other way is a little bit lengthy. Okay. What about 11? Which of the following is true for all rectangles? What did we get on that?
D.
D. The consecutive sides are perpendicular. Okay. Is that what all of you said? I was going to show you. Did you guys check your answers? Here are the answers. Can you see that all right?
No, not really.
Okay, so it goes B, G, D, F, C, F, A, H, B, F, D. Explain to me which of the following is true for all rectangles. The diagonals are perpendicular. That's not true, is it? The diagonals bisect the angles. That's not true. It'd have to be a rhombus, wouldn't it? The consecutive sides are congruent. That's not true. But the consecutive sides are perpendicular. That means it forms a right angle, correct? Okay, let's take a look at the second page then. Let me go through these, okay? J, C, H, A, G, D, H, D, G. Don't worry about the bonus, okay?
Will there be a bonus on our test?
No.
Is this set up like how the test is gonna be, like multiple?
Okay, so the test is, it has 3 pages. The first page is short answer, like the ones that I did at the beginning of the class. The middle page is similar to these questions, so it is multiple choice. And the last page is short answer again.
So grade meaning like one page as in front and back is one?
No,
Or is that
one
2?
page, just one page front is multiple choice.
Alright, nice.
So there's, if you want to know, I can give you a rundown. Well, a little bit of the front page is multiple choice, 2 questions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 points are multiple choice. Okay? So 10 out of the whole test. So it's a 30-point test, so a third of the test is multiple choice.
How many questions are there? Did you just say that?
There's 30 points, there's 21 questions. So 10 of the 21 questions are, but the other questions count for more. Now, you gotta be careful because you wanna make sure that you do at least attempt every question, okay, on short answer. Because if you don't get any points, for sure. All right, do you have any questions on this page? All right, we're good? All right, that completes our review then.